All right, now to our first conversation. Technological advancement and digitization is rapidly taking over the global economy, constantly shaping business operations, and businesses under the micro, small, and medium-scale are urged to incorporate it into their business activities to accelerate growth. Well, let's get a sense of the MSMEs right now and the level of digitization with MSMEs in Nigeria. We have joining us Femi Iromini, CEO, co-founder, Money Africa, right here on Business Morning. Great to have you on the program.
Thank you very much, Ladi.
Yeah, we know MSMEs are the backbones of any economy, and they need to be shown a level of attention to make sure that the economy keeps growing. But I want you to paint a picture of the level of digitization right now with MSMEs in Nigeria.
Thank you very much. So I feel the first place to start is actually you drill it down to the numbers. So it's easier for you to now think around the impact. Like, think about it. If most businesses are digitized in Nigeria, what's it going to look like, right? You look at the number, you're looking at over 36 million SMEs in Nigeria alone, right? And about 80, that accounts for about 80% of businesses in Nigeria. That means they're doing a whole lot. They're employing over 80% of Nigerians, right? Now, the interesting thing is, having this number, you still cannot see the impact when it comes to digitization yet, right? You're going to be shocked that just about 6% of this business actually has a website.
A website?
Yes, basically.
Wow.
And then maybe the next part might just be, okay, a lot of them, they have social media pages, Instagram, Facebook, and all that, right? But what beckons to that is the fact that when you're going to think about digitization for businesses, MSME, right? It's more like it's more like an ecosystem. None is disconnected. They have to be connected together. The first level is identification. Then you move on to the infrastructure that supports that, data, and then you just go on to so many things around digital inclusion, right?
Yeah.
But you cannot just talk about the problem without the costs, right? And what comes to mind is the first is the digital literacy, or better still, the skill set that is required to be digitally included as a business.
So we have financial literacy.
Digital literacy.
We also have digital literacy.
Yes.
Okay, makes sense.
And essentially, when you think about digital literacy, it starts from, how do I even create a basic email as a business? Am I even sure that I need to have an email, official email as a business? The next phase is...
because I know when I see businesses use, generic email addresses, it kind of looks unprofessional.
And the other part is using personal email, right?
Right.
Now, the digital literacy is actually not there yet. Like, there's a way I have to position myself as a business so that I can have that perception. People can have that perception that I'm digital savvy, I'm digital ready, right? And then the other part is the barrier to entry, or the barrier to access for these businesses. Sometimes when they think about the cost of the internet, when they think about, okay, how do I get the support that I need, is another big challenge, right? And the other interesting one is cybersecurity, fraud, and the data privacy, right? Often, when you think about most of these businesses, you hear any small thing around, okay, they hacked this person's website and all. They're very scared. They're worried, like, am I safe online?
And there's a cost to actually protecting yourself. And I also saw, a recent report showed that over 44% of companies in Nigeria actually paid, a ransom, when they, most of them, got hacked. And that's a huge cost.
It's a lot. It's a lot. And so first, even when you think that you're digitally literate, right? You're worried about your data privacy. So before you now think about a business that is just trying to embrace technology, in the first place, they will not want to do it, right? So I would say the good news is this. Pandemic has actually pushed us a bit further, right? When it comes to accelerating adoption of technology, pandemic was very helpful because You just have to order things online. You can't open your shop and all that.
Right.
And that's actually brought some businesses to be digitally included, basically.
Quite interesting. Yeah. And, talking about these businesses now, we see most of them, they start a business, small business. Next thing, they open an Instagram page or, Twitter, and they start to market, their products. And there's a huge number of merchants, on these social media platforms. Does that paint a picture of digitization?
To a very large extent. You being able to, first is access, right? Visibility. If you're able to open your Instagram page, even your WhatsApp, you're selling through your WhatsApp. You can sell through your WhatsApp status, right? It's more like the first leg to saying, okay, I'm digitally included as a business. Some even say it with pride that I go and check my Instagram page now. It's there. You can order from there. It's a step forward, right? But there's a whole lot more that can actually be included if they actually get the right support. The interest is there, the willingness is there, but do we have the framework in place to actually support them to be digitally included, basically?
But talking about support now, what kind of support do these MSMEs actually need to be more, digitally literate?
Digital education, right? The part for government is there, and other corporate trade association to us to support this, right? Is essentially around digital education, right? How do I set up email? Why do I need email? What is the benefit? Result is very important, right? If they can do like a comparative analysis, the other woman that is selling behind across the shop, she has the Instagram page, and to a very large extent, she's selling a lot because she has an Instagram page. It's going to be attractive to them, right? But getting this kinds of support requires a concerted effort from different stakeholders, government, corporate bodies. It can even be our CSR, what they call it, trade unions. They can support with that as well. And providing that kind of education, it makes it easier for them to embrace, right? The next phase is, what do they need to? What kind of tools do they need to? Can there be a discount or a subsidization model to assess some of this tools, basically, for them to start? The moment they are included, the next thing is they want to do more with whatever they've learned.
Right. And, talking about, these platforms where some of these merchants actually sell, I've noticed that, to promote your products, you have to pay, in dollars, with some of these platforms. And I'm looking at it like, okay, this is actually importation. We're sending, dollars out of the country. Is there a long-term solution to this? Making sure that, maybe we have a platform, that serves Nigerians, and actually you can pay in Naira. You don't have to start, you don't have to send out dollars, to pay for promotions on these websites, because to me, that's importation. What do you think?
So I'm a big fan of local promotion as well, right? Social media network is actually complex, right? You could have just woke up one day and say, I want to build a social network for Nigeria.
Right.
But that's almost like a myth, it's a joke, right? Because the reality is the muscle, the capacity it requires to actually build a social network is different, right? It's a whole lot more, right? But we should not just focus too much on social network. There are other platforms that are actually enabling commerce, that enabling businesses online. That's you don't have to pay dollars. You don't even have to pay for some of this platform for them to enable them. There are marketplaces, there are e-commerce platform, their storefront, a couple of them locally that they can leverage on.
Because sometimes you get more visibility when you actually pay for promotion.
You get more visibility, but you can actually walk around. You can actually work with what you have for a start, and also there are also programs, opportunities that actually provide access to subsidized credit, free credit. But in essence, in order not to encourage too much exportation, there are local platforms that actually place to that. They are placed to you being able to display your products
and it actually get customers
online.
from abroad, at some point.
Exactly.
But, there are many technology companies claiming to provide, all kinds of, solutions for MSMEs across Africa. Is there a risk that, store owners may be overwhelmed by all these options?
We're not there yet. Because at the being, we're at that point where we're saying a lot of businesses are digitally included, right? Yeah, we can say, okay, they will be overwhelmed, right? But think about it. Ask an average business on the roadside, and then do you have an Instagram page?
Right.
Do you have an e-commerce? Are you selling on this platform? We're still not there. So the fact that the inclusion is not there yet.
Do we get there when we see maybe the average bully seller, on the road, able to receive payment with some app?
So we're getting there already.
Okay.
For instance, if you think about 6 years ago, you're just passing by the roadside and yes, okay, can I do a transfer? It's going to be strange. But now some of them, they actually provide, if you go to Balogo, for instance, you can make a transfer to them, right? That's payment part of being digitally included, right? We're going to get to that point. We're going to get to that point with the right mix of
So some of them don't even have bank accounts.
That's the first thing, financial inclusion. And it's a whole lot of, before you even talk about digital inclusion, or then you talked about identity. Why is that some of them don't even have bank accounts?
Exactly.
They don't have identity for the business. They don't have documentation and all that. So many disconnected, but to a very large extent, when you think about internet penetration, we're getting there. Over 100 million people are actively using internet in Nigeria already. And the growth is there. Pandemic encouraged it. And then we're seeing a lot of efforts from different stakeholders as well.
All right. And I've been hearing some chatter about community financing models. Can you tell us more about this?
So when you think about the issue of microfinancing, right, it's interesting that it's around people coming together to make contribution, to have access to loan, right? And when you think about financial inclusion as well, it actually starts from, I'm able to have an identity, I'm able to open an account, next is I can save. After saving, I can have access to loan, and also have a credit history, right? But you think about a perfect picture in most developed country where you have a working credit bureau, right? You can access your credit reports. There's a recourse around the fact that if I default, I know that it's going to affect my credit rating. It's going to affect access to so many infrastructures, right? But you bring it back to Africa, most emerging markets. Often it's always around, I can get away with anything when I take loan.
When you take that loan?
Yeah.
Right.
The mindset is there. Because to a very large extent, you can rely on credit bureau to provide access to credit. And often the data there is not real time, right? And the thought is, you cannot just import a product or a technology to this part of the world without you thinking around, is there an infrastructure support for this? Infrastructure support for credits is still very low. The fact that the recourse is not there. And what microfinancing has actually has been able to do is the fact that you're able to bring people together, they come together to be able to access credit, right? And to a very large extent, that's our thinking around it. So like, okay, instead of just leveraging on statement of account, credit bureau that is not totally reliable, can we actually focus on what works? And the model is very simple. Ladi stays along the streets, not too far from me.
Right.
He has a social intelligence about Femi that Femi is a good guy.
Right.
He can actually do underwriting about Femi. If they form a community of 5 to 25 people, if Femi is defaulting, Ladi can go to Femi's house and drag him. And then the other interesting thing about most emerging markets is, often, no matter how much you publish their name online, they might not really care, but they care so much about their identity. within their community. One of the most common social habits.
That's why the shaming actually worked.
Shaming is not great. Really,
it's actually a horrible way to you get the money back.
You can think about it as social pressure, right? For instance, there's a thing around community in most emerging markets. Ajo, Esusu, people form groups. Even when you are getting married, there's a way they create ashwebi. Right. So the sense of community is there, right? And that sense of community, it's birthed something around, I don't want to be left out, right? Often, some people will say, Mayomi Legbe in Yoruba, like, I don't want to be left out.
Right.
That sense is there, right? So to a very large extent, if that social habit is there, why can't you leverage on that social habit to be able to provide financing to people?
Right. Well, Fabi, so much to actually unpack there, but well, we've seen a huge change from the last 10 years. Talking about financial inclusion and digitalization. All right, Femi, thank you so much for coming on the program. Femi Romini is a co-founder Money Africa. The next 10 years will be interesting to see. Thank you so much. Well, we'll take a moment now. Business Money returns in a moment.